That skull and bat wings, original kind of hand-painted version, probably 1984 right here. My name is John Lucero. I'm owner of Black Label Skateboards. This is my first pro model that ever came out. And after all the work I did trying to come up with my first graphics, Variflex still didn't really think a kid could come up with his own graphics. So we actually ended up having this done by somebody else. At the time, Pusshead Graphics were just coming out with Zorlak, and it was like the big deal at one of these trade shows. And I had this board, you know, I had this board kind of at these shows, and they came back and said, we wanted something like Pusshead. So I actually called Pusshead. Yeah, he was a friend of mine. Told me he couldn't do it, but he referred me to this guy, XNO, who lives in Tennessee. And we just kind of got a hold of him. I told him some ideas we wanted, and the Torture graphic came out, which is pretty stoked on that thing, with the Skateboarder magazine sticker right there. These are the original Lucero and Grosso Schmitt Stix boards. This is a painting Gons did for John Cardiel. We did this is actually some of the first artwork like this that appeared on a skateboard. So Gons came by the office one day and he goes, hey, I made this for John Cardiel. Can you make a board out of it? So that's when slick bottoms were happening. So when Cardiel was Skater of the Year, I think it was '93 maybe. I should know that. So when John Cardiel was Skater of the Year, he was on the cover Alling Through a Ring of Fire. He's riding this board. He was on Black Label at the time. So anyways, that's Gons' original artwork. Let me try this. Let me look down here. Here's a rad Cardiel. I wanted to do an Evel Knievel board for him because that's kind of what he was, you know. And so that was like a white board with red, white, and blue stripes on it. It's supposed to look like Evel Knievel's white leather outfit, his belt buckle and all that shit. This is a John Cardiel graphic I did a long time ago. Right here. Kind of cool. Little guy, a bottle of wine, ending it all. So that was a rad Cardiel board. This is back when boards were like 7 1/4 inches wide. And believe me, John was like early on skinny boards. He wanted his boards like 7 inches wide. You know what I mean? Which I couldn't get it. The way he skated and stuff like that. Here is the Jeff Grosso original drawing. That's how thrashed it is. Of his Lucero board. It needs to be in a frame. This thing's been drug all over town. I've had it in storage. I've had it all over the place. And this is like, there's mold on it and crap like this. This is just a rad. So I drew this one probably 19. What would that be? 1998 maybe? No, 1989. So it was like later 80s board. Came out, this is the first board because you always skated for Santa Cruz. So when you skated for Lucero, it was Lucero LTD, this was his first board. It was the first time we got to be on the same team together since Schmitt Stix, which was a couple years prior. Now here's the this is the original drawing. You can see this one's actually the ink version of my 1/2XU graphic. And these two boards were designed at the same time to be part of a set. This is a cool Randy Colvin board right here. This was done by Daniel Dumpy. Before he worked for World Industries and did all those boards, he worked for Liberty actually for a while. Then I stole them from him for a little while, and then Rocco stole them from us. Basically the zigzag guy partying with all these chicks. That's where the little elephants are floating around, get all passed out. It's just a rad graphic. And it's funny because I have seen the original artwork much like that, which I know I used to have. I've seen it on eBay one time, which means someone stole it from me, which pretty much know who it is, but leave that alone. So again, here's another kind of version of that graphic. So here's the Schmitt. This is the X2. This is probably one of my most famous graphics right here. This one was done in 85 or 86. Okay, the Kevin Staub graphic, you remember that one? I drew this graphic for Sims in 1986, which ended up being one of his most famous graphics. Back then, the board would sell a lot, or they wouldn't sell. This is one of the good ones.
I think he's still using that graphic.
I think he still does. All he has to do is call me, and I'll give him the real artwork for it, because they keep using like these softened up versions where they keep like trying to scan it off a sticker or something, you know. But you know, I'd give it to him if he wanted it. Kevin.